Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Whelan, the host of the WB Download, and I want to invite you and welcome you to our podcast. My brother and I own and operate Whelan Builders. It's a custom home building company here in Southwest Ohio. The WB Download mostly focuses on interviewing folks associated with custom building. We stray now and then to interview people who I think are interesting and to break up the monotony of the same old podcast. I also like to highlight things that are going on in my everyday life along with our businesses. I started this podcast to help people understand the custom builder world, but to also give people a chance to hear what others have to say and highlight their expertise and experiences in life. We drop on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month with a new topic and or guest each time. I hope you join us here on the WB Download and enjoy listening and hearing stories of people in and out of the custom builder world. Welcome to the WB Download. Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to the WB Download. Today is Tuesday, August 11th. Man, it's we are deep into the fall here, and already kids are getting ready to go back to school, and life is over as we know it. Another year gone by, man. But, you know, things keep on going for us. I think our last episode there, I was talking about being at the county fair and showing our cattle. And now the next show must go on, which is Homearama, which our dates for the Homearama show are 8/29 to 9/13 and here in Southwest Ohio. Homearama in Southwest Ohio is known all across the United States. It was once one of the biggest shows going on anywhere around, but it's something that's been near and dear to my family's heart. This is our 26th year in the show this year, 26 for Whelan Builders. But exciting for today because I have a guest on this show. Her name is Carmen Hickerson. She is the executive officer of the Home Builders Association of Greater Cincinnati. And if you guys have listened to any one of these podcasts, you know that the Home Builders Association is something that's a big deal to my family. It's a big deal to our industry. It's an association. It's a trade association here across the United States, Home Builders Associations. We have a local Home Builders Association. We have a state organization in each state, and we have a national association of home builders that's based in Washington, D.C. So all of these have their respective groups that we are working to protect and improve the industry all over the place. But our Cincinnati Home Builders Association is a strong association. So in my career, I've had, I think, 5 different EOs at the local level, and I've helped hire 3 of them, I believe, and 3 of them, and so Carmen is the last one that we went through this whole thing. A friend of mine, Alan Gerbis, and I were the chairs of the committee, and it was a relief to find Carmen in this whole search. So she's been here for a while. She's making waves, making moves, and doing great things. But she's here to talk about the Home Builders Association, but she's also here to talk about Homearama and what great things it's going to do. So that's our guest for today on the WB Download. I hope everybody finds it super interesting, as you do every episode of the WB Download. So things are going on around here at Whelan Builders is, we're building this Homearama house. We're coming down to the finish. We are also, we've been waiting. We've been paving the streets. We're putting all the finished details in there. We're moving furniture in. Things are coming together. And we have our next guest after Carmen will be Gavin Haverstick of Haverstick Designs, who helped us designed the piano room, which is the acoustically correct room that we have inside the house. It's a feature and a highlight that we have inside our Homearama house, and we're gonna hear from Gavin on the next episode. So, we've got a number of different houses that we are trying to finish up coming through the fall here. We've got obstacles being thrown at us left and right because that's what we do for a living. But we've also got some really cool projects that we're working on that are in architecture, things that we're gearing up for next year, things that we're working with our local government on to allow us to build these wonderful projects. Something that never makes sense to me is the government wants us not to build cheap houses, and when we go to build expensive houses, they still put barriers in our way, and we still have to cross them, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. But it is what it is. Oh, I've got to play by the rules. So there's a lot of good stuff going on here at the farm. It's done. I mean, it's quiet. There's not much happening, thankfully. We're just kind of maintaining. We are getting ready to head back out and do our steer shopping, our cattle sorting, our steer shopping for the kids' projects for next year, and that's always fun and interesting, and something that we're a team of four, Cody, Raina, and Shannon and I, and we spend a lot of time together. And one of the things that pulls us together as a family is the cattle business, is the 4-H showing and shopping and doing a number of things throughout the year. And so it's near and dear to my heart to be able to spend that time with them. So that's what we're getting ready to do, is set out on a trek, and I'll keep you posted on it, because some people find it interesting of the craziness that goes on in the farming world. So without further ado, I just want to, I wanted to, well, you know what, I should touch on a couple different topics here, that I'm forgetting, and I'm going to get beat up if I don't pay attention to it. But, I want to circle back because we had, Peyton and Jess Obert on the show a while ago, and we were talking about Peyton's lemonade stand. The lemonade stand went off on July 25th, and we hosted our first lemonade stand here at Wheel & Builders headquarters in Westchester, Ohio. And we were able to raise $355, and we made the great choice of matching the $355. So we are writing a check for roughly $710 back to Peyton's Lemonade to make the donation. I talked to Jess the other day, and she said that they feel like they exceeded last year, which last year was $150,000. They feel like they have exceeded last year, and I'm excited to hear the numbers when they come out. You guys will be probably not the first to know, but you're going to know what we're talking about. So congratulations to them. These guys, thank you to all of the customers who stopped by, all of our trade partners who stopped by, the staff, who Tanya and her daughter, our office manager, they are the ones who ran it that day, because that's what she does. Fantastic people. And so just can't thank everybody enough that came out and supported it, understands the cause. And I'm grateful to be able to work with Jess and Peyton and their family to make this cause so great. So don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. And you can go on to your app there and see where you can find a link on there. But we're going to we always feature these really cool houses. Leanne does a great job of putting this newsletter together, but we're featuring the Paxton Revival and the designers who did an amazing job on this house. Multiple designers, and these people are people we continue to work with, but they also are people that Jillian is going to be doing our Homearama house furniture and a number of other things in there, so you can see a taste of that. The house is super cool. There's a story that goes along with that house, and we'll talk about that more, but you'll hear it in the newsletter. Don't forget to check out our website at wheelandbuilders.com to see more about the Homearama house, but also see about all the other houses that we're building. Just some really, really cool projects, some really, really cool people that we get to work with every single day. So that's what I have right now leading up to Carmen Hickerson here with the Home Builders Association. Excited to have her on here. I love hearing what she has to say. She's the right person for the job, and she's killing it out there right now. So without further ado, here on the WB Download, it's Carmen Hickerson with the Home Builders Association of Greater Cincinnati and Homearama. As I said today, here on the WB Download, we have none other than Carmen Hickerson, the Executive Officer of the Home Builders Association of Greater Cincinnati. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
I hope you're glad to be here. Good Lord. I mean, you weren't my pick, but I'm glad you're here. So I'm just kidding. You were my pick, and that was an inside joke between Carmen and myself. You are, I was thinking about it this morning, the number of executive officers that I've been through and how many times I've been on the selection committee for that deal. Because when I was a kid, I only had 2. And then when I was president, then we started just going through them right after that. But we had taken a significant amount of time and effort to make sure that you were the right person for the job. So we are glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in northern Kentucky on a farm. I showed horses growing up.
Did you? I didn't know that part about you.
It was a great way to grow up. It's a really fun hobby, but it is all consuming, that's for sure. And then I lived in Florida for a little while and then moved back to Louisville, where I lived for 25 years. And then I moved back to Northern Kentucky because all of my family is still here.
You've always been in a like an administrative association role, or not?
I have spent a lot of my career in association business. I spent 13 years with the chamber in Louisville, which is the chamber business is very similar to a business association.
Yeah.
And also have a little bit of banking, a little bit of healthcare, but mostly association.
Did you go to
business.
college?
I did. I went to Moorhead.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. We were just down there for a show not too long ago.
It's beautiful. It was a beautiful place to go to. To go to college.
It was. You running down to AA to get there, right? And
I used to take 64 from Lexington.
Yeah,
but
it was. We were back there in the wintertime. We had a cattle show there. It was a really cool school. So what did you study? What gets a person into the volunteer organizations?
Yeah, so I studied public relations and public policy. And I was always really drawn to advocacy and public policy. And I always tell people this funny story because when you go to school and you major in something, you have no idea what you're going to be and what you're going to do and where that's going to take you. I thought I was going to be a speechwriter for the president.
Nice.
That's what I thought I would end up doing, but that would be a horrible job, and I'm so glad that it didn't work out that way.
You never knew who the president's going to be.
You just never know. Yeah, but I was very much drawn to communications and communications around advocacy and public policy, and that's what I spent most of my career doing, which is why I really feel like the HBA was such a great fit for me because everything that I've done really lends itself to this job.
Yeah.
I understand membership associations and I understand events and I understand advocacy and public policy. I understand the need to, heighten the visibility of the organization. So it just feels like that it was tailor-made for me.
Do you see similarities across associations, no matter what you've done or been involved in? Do you see similarities with the HBA as a trade organization where you see other, whatever it is you may do?
There are similarities. The way we
struggles and accomplishments.
I was going to say it's a lot. I think that being able to create experiences for the members that will engage them and make them feel the value of being part of the organization, connecting members. But I also really enjoy doing the advocacy on behalf of the industry and our members. I think where I would like to do more and where I'm trying to take the organization is for us to be more of a player in this market in decisions that are made that impact home building.
Oh, yeah.
We are just not always at the right tables. And so that's what I'm really trying to do is to make sure that I carve out time in my role to be at those tables, to raise the profile, to make sure that if somebody's going to have a conversation about housing, that they're including us in that conversation.
That's the way it should be. And that's the way it was for a long time. And I'm not sure, if there was any particular reason why we didn't do it or anymore, or why we kind of fell off. I think it probably was market trending, how many people were involved, different things that they were involved with the PAC. But we've always believed that because I think what we don't want is for government officials to think that the builders are going to be one-sided and that they're going to be the enemy and then they don't want to come to us for advice or for questions. We're the experts. We're the professionals. They should come to us and say, hey, how do we work together to achieve this? And I think they're all smart enough to make sure that we're not making decisions that are only helping the builders. But that's an awesome policy. I'd love to see it get back to that.
I also think that what I have learned from talking to elected officials and business leaders is that they just really don't understand our industry very well. So part of it is just that education and the opportunity to be in the room with them and say, well, let me explain why this is a problem, or let me explain why this would be an advantage. I don't think that they do always make decisions to be punitive. I think they make decisions out of just not really knowing.
Well, I think, yeah, and it depends. They're probably making decisions on who is standing in front, who's knocking on their door. You know, how many, I don't know if you've been on one of our National Association DC trips yet, but one of my all-time favorite places to go. But I mean, we would be there and standing in our congressman, we wait in line, you know, to talk to them. And you're standing there, and we went down the basement and ate lunch a couple of times, and from Raymond, you know, through the tunnel, and we ate lunch with some guys that were there from the I don't know if it was the pilot associations or who it was, but they were lobbying them for different flight times, you know, because they were struggling with getting more pilots to fly planes, but the restrictions were more difficult on them, so they were like trying to get relief on the restrictions. There was another group of older women that were there, and they were lobbying for something, and I mean, so it's just all day. And you know, I mean, if the Home Builders Association isn't there at the table, whether it's local, state, or national, and somebody else is, well, then they're probably hearing that side of the story more than they're hearing our side. So there's
a constituency for every issue.
Yeah.
And
every issue.
The other thing that I'm a big fan of is coalitions and finding people who have something in common so that it's not just the home builders. I think one of the big things when it comes to housing right now is that this is really an economic development issue.
Yeah.
And the ability for Ready and the chamber to be able to attract and grow businesses is going to be interdependent on those jobs having a place to live, an affordable place to live, a convenient place to live. And that's one of the bandwagons that I've been on is we are partners in this. We're not just the home builders out here on our own. We need to be forming coalitions and promoting this message across the board, not just coming from us, which sometimes can look like a selfish play.
I agree 100% because, and I think you find coalitions in groups that you would think are against you. And I'm a member of the, you know, just being in the farming industry. I can't tell you how many issues are the same with agriculture as there is with home building and the public
especially on the environmental side.
Oh yeah. I mean, the soil conservation, all those things.
Water.
And I think in the public eye, they think that the builders are coming and raping and pillaging the land and sending the farmers to town. And really, we have a lot of the same issues and need to work on the same things. So, I mean, there's huge. So how do we do this? I mean, how do we make better advocacy for the Association for Builders, the industry, and how do we create these coalitions? Do you have a plan in mind?
So I think of advocacy and being effective at advocacy as being a combination of grass tops and grassroots. So at the grass tops level, that's people being able to wield their influence, whether that be through financial contributions or you live in that particular district, or you're going to be able to advocate among others to vote for a particular person. And then the grassroots is the ability to get messages out that are going to reach more than just the direct message to that person. And you're building that constituency that says, oh, okay, now I understand this. Now I can speak to this. Now I'm opposed to this, or now I'm for this. So I see it as being a combination of both. I think we do the grass tops better than we do the grassroots. And that's the part that I'm really focusing on right now. One of the big goals that I have is to start putting out more information in a thought leadership way. So whether that be taking advantage of LinkedIn or an op-ed in one of the publications, or, you know, going on podcasts and talking about it, because I think there's so much confusion among the general public, and they tend to fall into the trap of believing whoever is screaming the loudest about something. I mean, I'm sure it's no secret that we're facing a lot of challenges in Claremont County and in the Batavia area when it comes to development. And so you always have the detractors. So what are you doing to be pro this project?
Yeah.
How are we getting the message about why this is good and correcting some of that misinformation? So that's really where I feel like we have our opportunity.
I'm spot on. I think that I wonder what the public perception is of housing. And what the public perception is of a builder, and because you see a billboard that says #1 builder, and it's a production builder, and you're like, what the hell makes them the number one builder?
Volume.
And it's volume, and yeah, we're kicking them out left and right, and then you think about and I think that's also the public's perception of housing is just neighborhood after neighborhood, 3 sides vinyl, and then they're 5-foot side yards, and just covering the earth, and I don't think people look at housing as hey, this is where I come home every night, this is where I lay my head, this is where my family eats dinner, this is giving my kids the opportunity to grow up in a safe place. Nobody thinks of it. I don't know how, maybe I shouldn't say nobody, but I mean, I don't think that a lot of people think about that. And just in general, when people think about traffic, they're blaming builders. I was just at a livestock interviews for the 4-H club with my kids on last Saturday, and I was talking to some people, and they're kidding with me, but they're like, "This damn traffic is crazy," and I'm like, "Yeah, they're building all them houses," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what it is. The builders raping and pillaging the land."
Yeah.
So I think that advocacy thing and I also think like what you're talking about is the grassroots base. It's not just about money. I think that's like an ego thing when guys are giving money to politics, or they're really looking for something in return. But if you can get a group of people together who are surrounding the issue, and then get your congressman there, get your local representative commissioners there, have a fundraiser for them where multiple people are being able to donate to them. And then they're also being able to hear that voice is super important. So just to go back and back up, talk about the government that we focus on as a local association. Who do you want to focus on for that? Because there's local, state, and national levels.
Yes, we're very lucky to be part of the National Home Builders Association and the Ohio Home Builders Association, and we all three do work together in tandem. The National Home Builders Association does a great job at the federal level, and they meet regularly with not only elected leaders, but people in the different departments who have an impact on regulations and incentives and all of those. And then the Ohio Home Builders is focused very much on the State House, and we work in tandem with them. Obviously, we have representatives and senators in our district where we can be influential, but we work in tandem with them at the State House. So my role really is working with the jurisdictions in our footprint and making sure that we have relationships with them. And that's easier and harder depending on the different jurisdictions.
What are we, 6 counties?
6 counties.
Yeah.
It's Claremont, Hamilton, Warren, part of Warren. We split Warren
right,
with Dayton, Butler, Adams, and Clinton.
No, I thought Ross was in there too.
No, I think it's
we got because one of the struggles I think we run into is that representation for a home builders association. So we accumulate some of those farther out counties,
right? Where we don't, there's just not a lot of development happening there yet. But I think probably Claremont was in that category years ago.
Yeah.
So.
When I was president of the state association, they're like, go out and visit these associations. And I was calling on out in Athens, and they're like, don't come out here. And we don't need anything. And I'm like, why not? I want to come out there. And they're like, we have 6 members. I'm like, all right, I'll call you. Sorry,
that's a little idiosyncrasy about the structure of NAHB. And this is just a Carmen thing. Nobody is pushing me to say this. I think that over time there's going to have to be more consolidation.
Oh yeah.
Just because I don't know how those little small jurisdictions with 100 members are even surviving. Yeah. I know how difficult it is for us with 400 members. So I think that you're probably going to see some consolidation. I know it just happened in Cleveland. The Cleveland HBA merged with a smaller one that was on their outskirts.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see more of that.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it would be beneficial.
Don't tell them that, though, because they'll freak out.
Yeah. I think it was, so what we were talking about is local. So you're talking about commissioners, state reps, township trustees,
city council
members. I mean, just,
engineers.
Yeah, absolutely.
The engineer's office is important to us. The inspectors and permit and all of the construction processes.
Yeah.
Everything from how long is it taking to get a plat approved to how long is it taking an inspector. And it's a constantly moving target. We have another county where you get a new person coming into a role, they're coming out to do an inspection, they're saying, no, you have to have this. And we're going, no, that's not in the code. Well, that's my preference.
Yeah.
So then that's a conversation that we have to have
All
because
the
it's
time.
about what's in the code, not what your preference is.
Right. Well, yeah, there's a lot of different details that go along with each one of those. But I mean, I think that when you're talking about reaching out to these people, making sure that they know that the Home Builders Association is the positive voice, it's the professional voice. And I think that's a great idea.
It also is great for us to represent our builders when there is something that's a systemic issue, not a specific build or a specific project, because then you don't have to go and advocate for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
We can do it under the umbrella of the HBA.
I mean, that's suicide. I mean, when you think about going by yourself and you're complaining about something or somebody specifically, you need an association to stand up behind you. So how much research did you do about the Home Builders Association before you just accepted a position or even looked into it?
I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And was very excited when the position became available. And I guess I will say will give you hats off. It was a very extensive interview process. And, I did have the opportunity to do a lot of research and talk to a lot of folks. I remember my aha moments during that process. One of them was how many builders were generational builders. That was fascinating to see how many are second and third generation. So that tells me a lot about their commitment to this community and their commitment to building here and their commitment to the HBA, because in most cases, these people have long-standing relationships where their parents and their grandparents have served in leadership roles. So that was very exciting. And then, there was a lot I was able to learn by looking online. And I've recently been replacing someone in the office and being on the other side of the table. And I actually am someone who has that expectation that if someone is going to interview with me, that they have done their homework.
Yeah,
and
me too.
You would be surprised how many people came in to interview for this position who thought we built stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, did you even go on the website to
when
see
I'm hiring
who we
here.
are and what we do? Yeah.
I'm like, what do you know about us? And they're like, well, I'm like, really? Why do you want this job? It's not just a job. It's a career.
Right. Yeah. So there was a lot of research that went into it. And I'm sure you recall, because you were on the search committee, that I actually did put together sort of a roadmap or a proposal. I'm sure there were a lot of things in that made you roll your eyes, but at least I was showing that I had done the homework and that I knew what this was going to be about.
It was impressive. And I think I shared some stories with you about some other interview processes that we had gone through that were so there's always a like an aha moment for us too. It's the same side. One of the things that I realized a long time ago was when in 2000 I was president in 2005 at a local, and Elder Marshall, who had, lady who
legend,
just always, I was around her since I was a little kid, and it was just very difficult for me to have to go in and have those conversations with her. But as we were replacing her, we did this huge research. I mean, had all kinds of people on this committee and just did all these stuff. And we ended up with a guy from the National Restaurant Association and moved him here and found out in the first 3 weeks that, when you're at the National Restaurant Association, you're working with paid employees and you're working in DC. When you come down here to Cincinnati, Southwest Ohio, and you're working with all of these volunteers and we're in your grill and in your business every single day, he was like, this is horrible. And I don't know how in the world he didn't realize this before. And we didn't even put all this stuff together, but it didn't work out very well. And so that was, there's things that you learn throughout the experience of what you're going to get with an executive officer. They have to have certain qualities, but one of their qualities has to be patience, dealing with egos.
I'd say adaptability, flexibility. I always try to explain to people who work there that this isn't like a company where there's a CEO or a president and that the buck stops with them in every case and that they're making all the decisions. This is a shared decision making. You're going to have a different president every year who's going to have different ideas and different personality. And if that kind of seeming chaos is not going to suit you, then this probably isn't going to be the place for you.
Yeah. I mean, you're all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
So we have industry challenges like we talked about, and you mentioned a little bit about it, but what's some of the biggest challenges you face as a home builders association, as an association in general?
Well, associations in general right now are facing a lot of headwinds.
Yeah.
People have a poverty of time, and so engagement is a challenge. I think I'm pretty creative, and I do try to come up with new ideas and ways that we can engage people, but it is sometimes not as successful as I want it to be. So I think that if people don't get engaged or that they don't see that value, then retention becomes a challenge.
Yeah.
So I have honed my pitch when I talk to people about joining to help them understand that the more you get engaged, the more you will get out of this, and you will meet people and you will have opportunities to grow your business. But there are a lot of things that you get out of it, even if you don't get engaged. And
Right.
I call those passive benefits. And I'm not sure that we have always done the best job selling that. You're in our directory. There are tons of savings from the National Home Builders Association where you can actually probably make your money back for your dues over the course of the year. We're doing advocacy on your behalf. I've heard some cynical people say, you're either a member or you're a freeloader. So, it's like, we're doing the advocacy. We need you to support that. So there are, and then I think just the visibility of being able, it's almost like the good housekeeping seal of approval. I'm a member of the Home Builders
Right.
Association, and I'm in this business. So I try to emphasize that, yes, there are a lot of things that you can get engaged in, but I don't want somebody to tell me that they're dropping their membership because they didn't have time to get engaged, because
Yeah.
I want them to understand there's a lot of benefits that go beyond the engagement, or you might cycle in and out of your ability to be able to be engaged.
I would agree. I think one of the great things that people don't realize, and not everybody's cut out for it, is that being around other builders and being around, whatever you do as a salesperson or whatever trade you're involved in, just being entrenched with other people in your industry is super helpful. You just always are learning, always. You're building some camaraderie, you're building relationships, but you're always learning. I think that's a huge part of it. But we've always said that. I mean, everybody in our industry benefits from the work that we do within the association. So you mentioned a little bit before about not having to, but probably seeing it in the future about where these associations are going to have to combine. And I think we saw that in 2019, 2020, when I was in the state association, where you see all these different groups and you have Dayton and Cincinnati and Western Ohio Home Builders Association and all these people that are pretty close together who are fighting for the same thing, struggling with the same thing, volunteer groups, struggling for time from people, struggling to keep EOs engaged, all these things that are happening. So I don't know how you overcome that. I mean, I don't know really what the answer is.
So I have a plan. It's not going as quick as I would like, but one of the things that I am trying to do, I spend a lot of time talking to potential new members, and I love doing that, and I'm fine with that because then I know them and they have a connection to me, and I'm going to be able to retain them, I believe, more because I feel like we have made that opportunity to connect. But we have this whole group of members who've been members for years, and I believe that either they weren't told when they joined, or they just didn't pay any attention, or they've been a member for so long that they just write the check and they don't really pay any attention. So we started a thing in the office where we're going out and calling on existing members and just not asking for anything, just going and saying, thank you for being a member. Always wanted to see your place of business. Tell me a little bit about your business. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me why you joined the HBA initially. Do you feel like you're getting value out of it? And then did you know? Did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know this? Some of them aren't even getting our newsletter.
Yeah.
Some of them don't know about the savings through NAHB. Some of them don't even know they're a member of NAHB when they join us. So it's been really an effective tool in getting feedback and trying to help one member at a time really understand the value that we're bringing. And it's time intensive, but every single call has been valuable.
That's good.
And I've got the whole team working on it.
That's good.
So
when we were in membership, I always said, if somebody tells you that they don't want to be a member, the reason why they don't want to be a member is just as important as the reasons why people want to be members. You have to figure that out. And
Overcoming objections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the number one thing in sales, overcoming objections. Objections. So, I don't know how people could put their finger on it, and I know NAHB is going to have a fit when people start combining organizations, but I think it's closer than what people realize. I mean, and I think we do a lot with Dayton already, but there's a lot of different places that have those combined.
Yeah.
So do we? When you were talking before about coalitions, do we work with other organizations? I mean, right now, currently, or who do you see on the forefront of those coalitions?
So the two that I've worked with the most since I came on board would be the Realtors Association and the I never can remember what it stands for, ACI, the Commercial Association, Commercial Builder Association. And what we all have said is that we have a lot of things in common, a lot of the same things that we're fighting for and trying to accomplish. We might not always have the exact same priority issue, but very seldom do we have things that are in conflict. So that's the two that I've been working with the most. I think there's opportunities with the Apartment Association. I think there's opportunities with the Remodelers Association. And as I mentioned earlier, I think there's real opportunity with the economic development agencies and the economic development leaders in these communities where we are.
I agree. And I think, too, when you're talking about grassroots, when you're looking to have a fundraiser or having an awareness raiser, so to speak, for a candidate, the more people that you have. And I think this is an ongoing problem with the Democratic and Republican Party. I mean, they probably agree on more things than they disagree on, and they think that they're against each other. And I think that's probably the way a lot of things happen.
We have a saying in public policy, and that's strange bedfellows. So I always tried to remain as agnostic as possible, because the friend on one bill might be my enemy on another bill.
Yeah.
And if I make an enemy out of that person, then I'm not going to be able to benefit from the times that they're with me.
Yeah.
So you treat everyone as though that they can do something for you.
Yeah, to scratch everybody's back. So who's so right now you have an executive committee, you have a board of directors, you have general membership, so to speak. You have some different councils that are below that. Who's your current president right now?
Ethan McAlpine with Heritage Builders.
Yeah. How's he doing?
He's doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, Ethan has a lot of energy. If you've ever met him, you know that.
Yeah.
And he's, very, very young, which is helpful sometimes. I think one of the things that's really interesting about HBA, and I don't imagine that it's that different at other HBAs, is that you really have to find that balance of looking at the things that are legacy and valuing those and honoring those people who put a lot of time and effort into the organization, but also being willing to evolve and let things go and do things differently. And I will say my executive committee right now is fantastic about that. They are very willing to try new things. They are very willing to say, you know what, that's not working anymore. Maybe we just don't do that anymore. And I think Ethan is a representation of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a lot of ideas. He's very excited. He is the third generation, so he embodies what we want our HBA to be.
Yeah. I would agree. I think
I'm very excited about him.
He attracts a crowd, I mean, he's involved, he's into it, he's entrenched and he's young enough to have that piss and vinegar where he's just going to be going after everything. And I told him a long time ago that I felt like he reminded me of myself when I was younger and getting started in the Home Builders Association and you're just go, man. I mean, you're having a good time doing it too. And I think he rocks. So, but I think that's also you're talking about the executive committee and that's the reason why you have multiple people on there is because you need multiple different perspectives. You need multiple people to be, chipping in and you need somebody who's been there, done that to talk to the people who are just becoming in, I mean, it's always good. So, thinking about this, we've been talking about, kind of the struggles and the objects that are standing in your way for different things. But there's a lot of positive things that come through the Home Builders Association. One of them, year after year, is Homearama, which is coming up for us here in Southwest Ohio. Why don't you? We could go back through the history of Homearama, but you could also take us. Why don't we talk about what is the show all about? Where is it at? Let's go back.
So this is our 63rd Homearama. Hard to believe when I say that to people, they're just in shock. They can't believe it's been around for that long.
Yeah.
But really what Homearama is an ability for us to put a spotlight on the industry. It's to showcase new home residential construction, custom home building.
Yeah.
And I say that, some of our production builders have built beautiful custom homes in Homearama, so it's not limited to custom home builders. But I think it's really just that opportunity to show what's possible for sort of aspirational. But when I do interviews about Homearama, I always say it's not about coming and buying that house or building that exact home, because for most people, they are going to be at the upper end of someone's budget.
Yeah.
But it's also inspirational. You might just be doing a remodel. You might just be wanting to add on, or you might want to see what the trends are in flooring or colors. And so it is a showcase. That's truly what it is a showcase. You're getting to see the best of the best in the industry, putting that forward for you to come and get ideas and see what's possible.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you don't, and I think that just through all the years that we've been involved in it, I see the same people we recognize each other, and it's a tradition. People, they'll talk about Homearama in Southwest Ohio, and they'll be like, I've been going there since I was a little kid. And you just enjoy seeing other houses. It's no different than going looking at a car show. If you're an enthusiast and you get to see new things, and I think it's an awesome opportunity to take those ideas, take them back home and see them. So
it's still a relatively inexpensive outing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we do our best to try to keep it to be affordable and that people can come on multiple days if they want to. So I do think considering how much things cost these days, it's a pretty good bargain.
I would agree. And then there's also, it's not just coming to see the houses. I mean, there's always a difference of food choices that we have there. We have music playing. There's always some kind of entertainment happening. There's always something going on for the show every day for people to try and come out and see houses and then see some other things. So where's it at? Where's it at this year? When is it? And what's happening with the Homearama for 2026?
So this year's Homearama is in Hamilton Township outside of Loveland, about halfway between Loveland and Mainville. Am I explaining that pretty well?
Yeah.
It is sort of a traditional Homearama where it is large lots, large homes. Last year we did something a little different. We did more of an infill project in Oakley. So we're returning to that sort of tradition of being a little more out in the country and big, beautiful new homes and a big, beautiful new development. But the beauty of this location, and this is what people that I've spoken to about where it is, that's so far out. I said, but you're really close to everything. You are close to Loveland and Mainville. You're close to the interstates. You're close to parks and recreational opportunities. So I do think it's going to be a very desirable location.
I agree.
And I think if people do make the drive there, they will be very impressed with it. And then we do have some special things happening this year. We have fireworks on opening night. So we're excited about that.
Man, that's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun.
But from Rozzie's, right?
Rozzie's, yeah. And we also are having an air show on the first Sunday. So that's going to be exciting, to be something new, something different.
With airplanes?
With airplanes. With airplanes. Flying over part of Homearama. So it's about an hour long, and you'll just get to see some they're the sort of the stunt planes, you would say. I'm probably not using the right terminology, but we're going to have that on Sunday. We also are going to be having, because of the nature right now, everybody loves the outdoor living spaces and they want the grand, kitchens and the setups for enjoying indoor-outdoor experience for their home. We're going to be having some grilling demonstrations where people are going to be talking about different types of ways that you can use your outdoor kitchens. So there's just a little something for everyone. There's boutiques, there is live music, and then the homes have a little something for everyone too. I mean,
Don't forget.
we have some pretty incredible things happening. Your home is going to have a music room, a piano room. We have some that have a flight simulator. We have two that have golf simulators. We have two that have pools. We have one that has a brewery embedded into the house.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, that's one of the trends that we're seeing these days, is people really want to make their home have the spaces that they want and that they will enjoy. It's about they're creating their quality of living. The other thing we're seeing a lot is what we call flex spaces. So instead of saying this is an office or this is a mud room, they want spaces that can change as the family evolves.
Yeah.
So it might start out one thing and then be able to be flipped to be something else. And then the other big trend is aging in place.
Yeah.
People are really looking for homes that they will either be able to bring in-laws or that they themselves will be able to age in place and not have to move because of the difficulty getting around.
Right. I think that a lot of people like to do that, and they think about it early on, and they're always talking about doors being wider, and some doing some simple things like that. But and I think there's a handful of guys that have done it this year, and the same thing. What we've done is you make zero entries in your shower, zero entry from the garage and from the porches, and just so people can, and most of the time these people are telling me when we're building houses like this, these are for our friends. When our friends come over, they don't do well with steps. When our friends come over, they don't do this, and it's for themselves too, but they think about entertaining and doing things with their friends. So, I think the other unique thing about Homearama this year is that it's large acre sites. And when I say large acre, it's not just big lots. It's 3 acres somewhere in there, and they all rural area. This is something that's coming about in the last several years. And I remember, again, in the early 2000s where we were meeting with Goshen Township to say, hey, the growth is going to come your way. And you guys need to be prepared for it. We can't say it's coming here tomorrow, but and so we met with their building departments, we met with their zoning departments, and just talked through a couple of different things with them. Now it's there. Everybody, when I was a kid, building in Loveland was huge. I mean, everybody wanted to be in Loveland. Today is still true. People want to be in Loveland, and they can't. There's not enough land left in there or whatever. So we're building on the outskirts. So we're building in Goshen. We're building in Mainville and Hamilton Township so people can have access close to Loveland. So that's a really unique spot. But also is the builders that are building in the show. So, it's a multitude of different guys that are out there, guys and gals that are out there building in the show this year. What kind of experiences have you had with them? Because it's nice to have some new, different people doing some different things.
It is. We have 8 builders this year, which is a good number for a Homearama. And we have some relatively new builders. They're not new to building, and they're not necessarily new to the HBA, but they haven't built in a Homearama before.
Right.
So it's exciting to watch them sort of learn the ropes. And I think that I always say that when someone makes a commitment to be when a builder makes a commitment to be part of Homearama, they are committing to building on a very tight timeline. They are committed to not just building a home, but building something that's also a showpiece. And so I think that there's a lot to learn from being in Homearama, but there's a lot of positives that come out of it. The biggest thing, you guys are not going to be going out there and doing advertising per se to get new potential people to work with to build a home for.
We are. That's the whole purpose why we do that.
That's why we do the podcast. But it's really going to be word of mouth.
Yes.
And creating a name that people are going to recognize. I know it's been very interesting for me when I am around my friends and I tell them I work for the Home Builders Association, and they'll immediately start saying, oh, is so-and-so a member? Is so-and-so a member? So that's what you want, is you want your name to be something that's familiar. They know those names because they've gone to Homearamas before. And so it really does create that top of mind awareness for the builders who are in the show, and hopefully leads to new opportunities to build homes for people.
I agree. I agree. And I think, you got to be sure about what you're doing, and we've got to be, as a home builders association, sure about who we're allowing to build in this show. If somebody goes out there and doesn't do it, like it should be, and I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can about that, you're gonna make an ass out of yourself, and people are gonna see it. And you're building with some really, really fine builders that are out there, and you're comparing it side by side by side.
Mm-hmm.
So you better be ready to be in the public eye and putting that thing together, which most guys they do it really well. But it's for me it's also 18 something days, and we usually throw a big party on the night before those 18 days kick off. Dumbest thing we could possibly do. Why wouldn't we have the party at the end? But we do it.
And I agree with you on that.
That's
I guess maybe at the end we're so happy we survived. We just want to go home.
Yeah, we just want to go home. So let's think about that. When you're talking about the builders, I mean, let's touch base on this Homearama just one more time, and then we're going to talk about the evolution of it. But what's the price point for the houses this year? And we've got a handful that are for sale in there.
I believe there are only 2 that are already sold. Is that right?
Yep.
And yours is one of them.
Yes, absolutely.
But the price is a pretty broad range. We have 1.6 million to 3.7 million.
Yeah.
So there are some. It's all of them in between, everywhere from 1.6 to 3.7. And some of them are around 5,500 square feet, and some of them go up to 9,000 square feet. So it's a pretty big variety this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a cool show because there's so many different builders and so much different variety. But if you're looking for a house to buy, I mean, it's an existing house. It's a custom house that's brand new. This is the place to be able to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's done. I mean, it's the place to do it. So if you get the opportunity, or if that's what you're looking for, I think this is a new thing, because there's a big difference between building a market house in that show and building a house that's sold in that show. And because the house that's sold is specific to that customer, it's designed for that customer. The selections are specific to that customer. And when you're building a market house, you can build it for more of a variety of people. You can do you can do whatever you want as a builder, and open those things up. So I think that people are in for a treat when they come out to the show. So I was going to talk about, like, how do we come up with the Homearama? How do we come up with the sites, and how do we people always ask me, what do you got to pay? How do you get involved in Homearama to be a builder?
So picking the sites, we generally have people who are coming to us on a regular basis and saying, I want my site to be considered for Homearama. But we do put out sort of an all call every year to all of our members and say, if you have a site that you would like to be considered for Homearama, there's a process. Fill out this paperwork.
Yeah.
We have a committee that reviews those sites. They go out and see them. They talk to the developer. They see if they're suitable for hosting a Homearama, because there are some things you're going to have to have. You're going to have space for parking. You're going to have things that are accessible, and what is the location, and are people going to be willing to come there? So there's a lot that goes into that decision. Then once we have picked the site, and there is a fairly long process that goes into a contract with that developer, and they do pay, because they're going to get over $100,000 worth of promotion of their particular site.
Yep.
As part of hosting a Homearama. So then we would put out an all call to our member builders. You do have to be a member of the HBA to build in Homearama. And pretty much you're going to submit to us not only that you want to be in it, but this is what my house is going to look like. This is what I'm going to build, and make sure that fits into that development. And then you have to make a financial commitment.
Yep.
You have to buy the lot. And then, as you said, not everybody has a builder already. So it's a financial commitment for the developer, and it's a financial commitment for the home builder as well. I
think it's one of the greatest things that a developer could look at to promote their neighborhood, to kick that neighborhood off, is to have Homearama there, because like you said, we're going to be marketing it, promoting it. You get a lot of sales right out of the gate, and it sets the tone for your neighborhood, and it's a legacy where you can continue to use that Homearama logo for a long time.
And you hear people refer to former Homearama sites all the time.
Yeah, our customers this year live in a former Homearama neighborhood, and they love it. They thought it was really cool. So So the other thing that people always ask me is how do you become a builder in the show? And you got to be a member, but you've got to our lot draw process and those things that we do. You have to come to once the neighborhood's selected, and then there's how many ever lots that are available for the show, and then you have to decide, do you want one of those lots? And we go to a lot draw. And in order to be in a lot draw, you have to bring a deposit, big check with you to play the game. And then we have numbers assigned to us based on points, how many years you've been a member, how many years you built in the show, and then that doesn't really mean anything, because all that does is I think if it's the same way, it's been so long since I've done a lot draw, I usually come in after, you put numbers into a hat, and then if I've got the most points, I get to pull the number out of the hat first, and that number in the hat is the order that you get to pick in.
Right.
So I could have the most points. Been doing this my whole life and go up and pick number 15. And that means I have to sit till the end to pick my lot that I want. And so that's how you come in, you sign a contract, you drop a lot of money to play the game. You pick a lot, and that's how you get your lot picked. But I think more interestingly is how do you get this neighborhood? And we've got a criteria that we want and what we want that thing to look like. It's a gamble for the Home Builders Association to look at a builder, and it's also you got to tiptoe around this thing, because if you get somebody who we know is not a custom builder and who is not gonna put something out there that people want to come see, man, you got to have a tough conversation.
You do. I mean, but we have a standard to maintain for Homearama. I would add that for those of you who are thinking about potentially hosting a Homearama at your development, for those of you who might be thinking about building a home in Homearama or just coming to see it, it is one of the ways that we fund the operation of the HBA.
Absolutely.
It is a critical piece. Membership is part of it, and events are part of it, but Homearama is by far the most important financial piece of keeping the Home Builders Association running.
Absolutely.
And so just think about that there is sort of an altruistic piece to that whole puzzle as well.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you do business with somebody, I always tell people, when you do business, when you decide to build a house with Wheeland Builders, you're supporting all of our families, everybody that works here. We all have families. We're supporting your family by building this house. But it's the same thing when you come to Homearama, you're supporting all those builders, all the people who worked on each one of those houses, which could be, Alicia makes fun of me because I think this number grows every time I say it, but it could be between 200 and 500 people that worked on every single house individually. There's a lot of different families that get promoted by this. The other thing too is I would say that anybody who is a township or a county official, and they see you need to have a planning sort of background, or you have to have a plan in place. You can't stick your head in the sand and say, well, we just don't want builders coming around here. We don't want development coming around here, and we're just going to ignore it. You have to have a plan in place, and Homearama is a great tool to plan for your development structure in your township, in your county, in your city. And I think that's
Hamilton Township has embraced Homearama this year in a big way. They are very excited about having it there and having people come to their township and seeing what the quality of life is like there. I think they've been voted like one of the safest neighborhoods in Ohio for several years in a row. So, I mean, they feel like they have a lot of points to brag about, and they're excited to have 20,000 people coming to see where Hamilton Township is.
Absolutely. My daughter and I were driving up through there the other day, and I said, man, it's just hard to believe, because my wife lived in Michael's Farm when we first met, which was one of the first neighborhoods up there in Mainville. But the reason why we were up there is because they built the TPC at Rivers Bend in 1999, and with Arnold Palmer, and that was the first year that I chaired the show, was in 99, 2000, and there was nothing there. I mean, Hamilton Township had a blue Ford LTD police car, and they were at the beginning of their growing stages, and they've done a magnificent job by hiring the right people, having the great trustees who concentrate on some things. We went through a little bit of battle with them on a couple things versus the Home Builders Association versus the township and fees and things, but look at it now. I mean, the place is just awesome. So I'm pretty excited to be back up there.
I'm glad you brought up about the sort of the community thing, because that is one of the messages that you will hear me talk about a lot both within our HBA and outside of our HBA. And that is, home building is critical to building communities.
Yeah.
That is what creates a community. And when we build a new home and someone is living in that home, then they are contributing to the fabric of that community.
Yep.
They are supporting the businesses there. They care about what happens there. And so if you can get that message out to people that is what creates community, that is what creates economic activity, that is what supports all the other businesses and schools and police and fire in your community. I think people need to understand how those work together. And if we're not building homes and people don't want to live there, then we used to have a saying when I was working at the chamber, you're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah.
There is no coasting.
Yeah.
So if you want your community to grow, you want to expand your tax base, whether you're an elected leader or just a neighbor, you don't want to have to carry that entire burden, then growth is going to be inevitable.
Yeah. I think it's planned growth, like we were talking about with the commissioners and the trustees, and hopefully you think about growth being based on, it has to have a hub. So where we live at in Lebanon, we're pretty far out of town, but you're going to center your growth around the city, and it's going to sprawl out from there. And so you don't want to go out in the middle of, drive 50 miles, go down the middle of this cornfield and be like, we're going to build a neighborhood out here, because then we're just, you're just eating up the land. So it's got to be sensible. But if you love to live there, man, other people are going to love it too. And this is something you have for the rest of your life. When you raise kids there, you think about where you came from. And the number one question in Southwest Ohio when you meet somebody is,
where'd you go to high school?
Where'd you go to school at? Where'd you go to high school at? Where'd you grow up at? So that's really important to carry that legacy on.
Definitely.
And us builders are just doing our little part about it. So what else you got there? Is there anything else that we didn't talk about?
Let me look and see. Look at your list.
Look at my list.
Yeah, you sent me a lot of questions.
I know. I just want to make sure we covered them all.
I think we did. I mean, I think that's my main message that I try to get across to people. And the other thing that I do hear a lot of my builders say, and I know this might not resonate as much with you because you do build, a large, beautiful custom homes, is the builders and the developers don't create the market demand. They are responding to market demand. And so when you have conversations about maybe smaller lot sizes or the affordability of a certain style of home or attached homes versus detached homes, they would not be putting that product out there if that was not what the market was looking for.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that we try to help people understand. You talked a little bit about just creating house after house after house. Well, there's a lot of demand among the workforce for that type of housing. And if it were not something that people wanted to buy, we would not be building it.
Right.
So I think that there's something for everyone. There are people who want a larger lot, a bigger home. There are people who want a smaller lot and a smaller home.
It's different phases of their life.
Right. So I think that's what's the beauty about the HBA, and that's what the beauty about this industry is that there are builders who do all of those things.
Yeah.
And there are also a lot of our members also do a lot of remodeling, and that is very hot right now. Ohio is one of the fastest growing states for major remodeling projects, and builders are uniquely prepared to do that kind of work. And so I think that those are the things that I see is helping people understand it's not just one thing. It's all those things. It's yes and.
Yeah. Well, and I think what you do is just you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're here and you're doing these things and the position you're in. Every trade, almost everything has a trade association. You have the American Truck Drivers Association. You have the boating industry has associations. I mean, the tractor dealerships have associations that they belong to. And they're all for supporting each other, for them guys to learn about, there's a boater 20 because all the boat dealers belong to a 20 club. Tractor dealerships have the same thing. And like, when you think about Caterpillar and John Deere and Case International, you have all these things. these guys are focusing not only on their industry and parts and buying things and advocacy, but they're also thinking about how to better their product and better it for the consumer. And so I think almost every industry does the same thing, where the whole world and the whole industries benefit from the work of few. But I can't encourage people enough, no matter what you do, belong to your trade association. Make yourself vulnerable a little bit to go out and meet other people, to meet other builders. Even though they might be your competition, you're going to find out that they're just as screwed up personality as you are. So you might want to hang out with them a little bit.
You said that, not me.
I tell everybody that. That's why we get along so good in the home building industry, because we're all got this mental personality.
All a little crazy.
We're all a little crazy.
I have explained that to some people. I will say this is true. Home builders would not do what they do if they didn't love it.
Yeah.
If they were not passionate about it, because it is hard work.
Oh my gosh.
It is hard work. And there are so many things that can go wrong and so many obstacles that you have to overcome. And I have so much admiration for the people who choose to do it, because it has to be a passion.
There's got to be an easier way to life. But, I've got some mentors, and one of my mentors is a guy named Jay Myers, owned a company called Dugan and Myers. They built like Paul Brown Stadium. They built Children's Hospital. They built just some huge projects. And I'm on the phone with him. And if I get into a path where I start complaining, he has a very easy way to put me right back in my spot, and I'll be complaining about people. And most of the time I'm complaining about running the business, because all the other stuff is fun. And he'll say, man, he goes, I live in a neighborhood with accountants and attorneys and doctors, and every single one of them have to get up every single day and go and run a business, and they still have to do their job. And I'm like, well, that's the nicest way of anybody's ever told me to shut up. But everybody does something for love. You have to enjoy it. You have to get paid for it. You have to do a number of different things, but you have to have the skill and the patience to be able to do it. You're no different.
Oh, I'm running a small business as well.
You're running a small business, but you're dealing with builders who just, everybody knows this, but there's a lot of ego that goes on with this, and there's a lot of the things around that whole thing that you've got to have patience, and you've got to be strong, stand your ground, and you've got to be,
take things personally.
Yeah, and well, not. I thought you were going to say don't take no shit from anybody, but
don't do that either.
I would agree with all of that. But you're doing an amazing job. I hope your longevity here is forever, and as long as you can make it here, to the end of your career. Hopefully you retire here, and I hope you're enjoying what you're doing.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I said something to somebody the other day that I have quite the commute, because our offices are in Sharonville.
You're coming across
I live
the bridge.
in Alexandria. But it is one of the first times I've ever had a job where I never wake up and go, oh, I've got to go to work today.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do wake up excited, and no day is the same.
Yeah.
Every day is different. There's always new things happening and new challenges. And so I do love what I do, and I'm passionate about the industry, and I want to make sure that I do everything I can to help both our association and our builders be successful.
That's awesome. Well, like I said, we're glad you're here. We're grateful for you. Keep on kicking it.
Thank you.
All right. It's Carmen Hickerson here on the WB Download. She's with the Cincinnati Home Builders Association. All right. There you go. Like I said, it was Carmen Hickerson here on a WB Download. She's with the Home Builders Association of Greater Cincinnati. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found out what exactly we do. The Home Builders Association is something that exists by volunteers, by fantastic employees that we have over there, but it exists because of a lot of people working towards the cause of, or a few people working towards the cause of a lot. Everybody in this industry that's in Southwest Ohio, they benefit from the Home Builders Association of Greater Cincinnati, and some people don't want to get involved. Some people don't like that kind of atmosphere of being friends with your competitors or whatever you may do. So that's not for them. Or some of them have an ego the size of Texas and can't fit themselves through the door. They don't like to be part of it. Whatever the case is, we are working towards a better industry. We are working towards less regulation. We're working towards smarter regulation. All these different things that are happening over there. And Carmen's leading it up and just doing a fantastic bang up job. So thank you again, Carmen, for taking time out of your day to be here. Thanks for all your hard work and efforts with Homearama, and hopefully it's a successful show for all of us. So thank you everybody for tuning in, listening once again here on a WB Download. We're going into our 4th year coming up real soon, and it's exciting times. Don't forget, I mentioned our next episode is Gavin Haverstick from Haverstick Designs, and super interesting conversation. Believe it or not, it turns to music once again here on the WB Download, which I enjoy so much of listening to this, and it's an interesting conversation with Gavin nonetheless. So don't forget to subscribe to the WB Download on your favorite podcast service. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, and don't forget that we drop on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month. Every month, and we haven't missed one in 3.5 years, almost 4 years. We haven't missed one. So I hope you guys continue to listen. I hope you got it on your calendar. I hope it automatically pops up on your podcast app like it does mine, and it's like, it's time to listen to the WB Download. And if you want to be part of the conversation, reach out to me. WB Download at wheelandbuilders.com. Check us out at wheelandbuilders.com for our website. That's WIELAND, Wheeland Builders. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Enjoy this show so much. I enjoy learning about people's lives and learning about what they do for a living, and getting you all to hear the same thing. I'm Jeff Wheeland here on the WB Download.